What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Back with another episode of Caveman Sports. Hey, we're still here. Football season, baby. We're here. Let's get it. Hey, we've done majority conferences. Unfortunately, we had to skip the MAC. It's sad. If you go to my TikTok, I put up a quick ranking, but I didn't get to go do the full play-by-play, game by game. I had it saved in my computer, and somehow it just did not end up saved. I only had like two teams in, and I'm just, I'm already behind. I mean, there were several games in week 0. We're getting up to Thursday, and there's a bunch of games tomorrow on Thursday. So I'm running a little behind. Same thing happened with my American, unfortunately. I kind of have it saved in my phone a little bit, so forgive me for kind of looking down a little bit. I'm going to try to put it up as close to the camera as possible. But as we say, we're gonna do the American Conference, and then we have Mountain West, and then we finish with the two big dogs. We finish with the Big Ten and SEC. They hopefully should come out tomorrow. SEC maybe it'll come out like Friday. Possible Big Ten as well with it because might have the only time to do the Mountain West tomorrow as football kicks off at like 5:30 and it's a big one, South Florida, Boise State. So let's get cracking. So if they're for the American finishing in last, I mean we have like a four. I generally think it's gonna be a four-way tie. Teams at 1-7. I mean, of course they'll have head-to-heads over each other. But 14th, I'm gonna have Temple. Temple had a really good run there. They also had Matt Rule, and they kind of kept it going. It was just one of those, man. They had a good run. They kept it going. It looked good for them, and all of a sudden they just fell off the face of the earth, and they have been pretty bad since. But I got Temple. They lose to UTSA, Navy, Charlotte, East Carolina, Army, Tulane, and North Texas. Of course, I don't have their one win in there. I only have losses, so I can keep up with much easier. 13, I have the Florida Atlantic Owls. I got them losing to Memphis, Rice, UAB, South Florida, Tulane, and East Carolina. UAB, same thing. UAB, Navy, Army, Memphis, Rice, North Texas, and South Florida as their losses. Tulsa, 1-7. Navy, Tulane, Memphis, East Carolina, Army, and UAB. Then we got the old Charlotte Niners. Again, we've went over this before. I don't know if they're the 49ers, 69ers, 79ers, just the Niners. I don't know. We're just going to call them the Niners. But we have Charlotte going a smooth 2-6. Their losses are South Florida, Army, North Texas, East Carolina, UTSA, and Tulane. But here's where we get to the good ones. Luckily, it was only a couple teams that didn't get saved for some reason. I know I did them all because I honestly had high praises for Charlotte. I think Charlotte is going to maybe win several more games. I think they're going to be very competitive. They were much improved last year. Could very well upset App State, and then they could upset. I forgot they get somebody else pretty. Or actually, that it might be week 1 they get Charlotte or App State. I'm sorry. The rest, UAB, I think Trent Dilfer is just, he is no good for them. Tulsa's, again, they had a decent run, but they've been a horrible, they're probably one of the worst programs in all of football, honestly. FAU, they got a new younger coach, offensive minded. Tom Herman was, but this guy's younger. Tom Herman was there probably just doing coke and getting crazy down in Boca Raton. Now you get a young guy wanting to prove himself. I can see FAU improving, but still struggling to get some wins. Temple again, they're just falling off. They need to rebuild the ship and get going. Number 9, we got East Carolina. Could be a very hot take for some people, but how their conference schedule lines up is not very favorable, and I just think they're kind of trending in that direction downward a little bit as well. A couple years ago, they beat North Carolina State. Man, they've had some good wins, and then they've looked good, honestly. But I just they kind of are trending down the past couple years, so I see them trending down a little bit more. Um, I just call it the Mighty Pirates are heading into another year. I call them for them. It's a what if year. It's a hey, can we get going and maybe push the conference and then look good? Like they start the year with NC State again, and I generally think I believe it's at home, and I believe they sneak away with almost getting another upset against them. I think North Carolina State's just going to be a little too much more talent than them this year, so they just barely lose a heartbreaker. Then they get FCS Campbell at home. Then they get Coastal Carolina at home. So give them 2 wins in a row. The Coastal game will be much better than the Campbell game. Uh, oh, excuse me. And then an interesting non-conference game. They get the Mormons of BYU Cougars. Well, unfortunately, those Cougars, they lure the college kids away from the little prize, and the Pirates, unfortunately, they dropped that one. Well, the Pirates start conference play. Well, unfortunately, they started with a loss to the Army West Point Knights. Going to be a really good game. Army, if there's going to be a blowout, it would definitely go Army's way, though. Unfortunately, they immediately have to go down to NOLA, and they're going to lose to the Green Wave. They bounce back. They get Tulsa, Temple, and they get Charlotte. So give them 3 wins in a row. And then all of a sudden, they host the Tigers of Beale Street, Memphis, baby. Um, Memphis struggles on the road. So, but I would still give me the Tigers. Later in the season, they get a quarterback situation healed, and their running backs are going to be so good. Lines improved. I just think they're going to be too much. We'll see what Memphis' defense. They were much improved last year, but they lose their captain Chandler Martin in the middle, outstanding, and they literally have one starter from the entire year last year and lost like their rotation guys as well. So that's gonna be interesting. But really love the new defensive coordinator. So we'll see how it goes. But I think Memphis can pull off this win for sure. Then the Pirates have to head to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio to take on UTSA. And I think they're going to lose to the Roadrunners. The Roadrunners are much improved this year. They were much improved last year, and I think they continue it. Same coach, same quarterback, pretty sure same running back. They have a lot of guys coming back. Um, Pirates finished strong. They beat the Owls and Boca Raton. They finished the year. I think it's almost December by the time they'll finish. Or either no, it's last week, November, like Thanksgiving. Maybe it's a Thanksgiving game, but they get to play in the sunny weather of Boca Raton, so that'll be a nice finish. You get a win, I think they'll definitely make a bowl game, and I think that puts them right at 6-6, and then they get to do it in fashion in Florida. Let's go, baby. Number 8, we got North Texas Mean Green. Eric Morris and the Mean Green look to keep improving. A lot of people put him on the hot seat and said he's not good. They improved last year. I know they lose Chandler Morris to Virginia, but man, dude, I think Eric Morris, he's just one of those guys, man. He can just produce a quarterback. Yeah, it might not be the best, but the system is quarterback friendly, and I think they're going to put up points. Now it's all upon their defense again. So we'll see what they do. But they start off the year, they beat Lamar, and then I think they're going to shock some people, and they're going to beat Western Michigan. Western Michigan also is a team that's kind of trending downwards too. After what's the guy, the row the boat guy, PJ Fleck. After PJ Fleck left to Minnesota, they have been trending downwards too. Then they get Washington State in a non-conference matchup. Unfortunately, I think they're gonna drop that one. Washington State's gonna be much more talented than they are. I know they lost John Latier, but over North Texas, they have much more talent. I think it could be a very close game, though. Again, another unlucky team. They start conference play against West Point, the Army Knights, and they just get absolutely crushed more than likely. Then all of a sudden, they get the South Alabama Jaguars at home in an interesting non-conference game as well. And give me the Mean Green over them, man. I really think they can take care of them, and I think it'll be a really good game. And honestly, it's probably 50-50. It's a coin flip, but because it's at home, give me the Mean Green. Then all of a sudden we turn around, host the Bulls of South Florida. Looking to get a huge win, but unfortunately Byron Brown, they're gonna curb stomp them like they're in Tampa, baby. That's just gonna get rough. Then all of a sudden they welcome in-state UTSA, and I think they beat the Roadrunners. I think they can shock them, get a little upset type win, get some momentum. Then they go to Charlotte and they get another win. So they're rolling. They get it going. They get some life. All of a sudden, the Mean Green look like they might be it. They could very well run it and maybe contend for a conference title. Sorry, they welcome the midshipmen of Navy, another service academy taking care of the Mean Green. Unfortunately, season's looking to slip away. But then all of a sudden, they go to Birmingham, take on the Blazers, and they get it done there. Trent Dilfer extremely overrated. I don't even know why they hired him. Like he's the Elite 11 coach. They think he was going to be a quarterback guru. This guy has not produced a quarterback yet. So they need to just fire Trent Dilfer. If they even go 6-6, they need to fire him, honestly. Then all of a sudden, final game of the year, or sorry, road game of the year in Strong. They get a good win against a good Rice team. It's going to be a very, very shocking win. Um, Oh, sorry. Jesus, my wording on here is horrible. Sorry, the Owls get it done, and then they beat the Mean Green. So North Texas looking good. Dreams are gone. Mean Green turning it around. They beat another bad Temple team to finish the year, but much improved year for them again. Hopefully they get a quarterback that's younger so they can run into another season. Hopefully Eric Morris stays and they can look to do some damage. Number 7, we got Rice. The Owls look to improve in the second year in the American coming from the Conference USA. They start the year with an extremely tough battle on the road against the Raging Cajuns. I think they drop that one. Then they get Houston at home. They're going to drop another, unfortunately. But unfortunately, get an FCS school, so they get a win in the column. They start conference, but unfortunately, on the road, I think they're going to get stunned by Charlotte. Weird enough, and then they take another loss on the road to Navy. So 2 road games in a row to start conference play. It's not good. But then they get going in conference. We get FAU, but then we get UTSA, drop that one on the road. Then we get UConn. We actually pull out the win. Then they host the Beale Street Blue Tigers of Memphis. I actually think they pull the upset here. They really gave Memphis some troubles last year at home in the Liberty Bowl, and Memphis is extremely good at home. And you're telling me on the road, and Memphis does struggle on the road with Silverfield. Give me the Rice Owls more, 100%. Unless the Memphis quarterback just comes out and he's a star. Unless the dual threat quarterback that they always needed just becomes insane. But give me the Owls. And then all of a sudden, just in the year, we get a little bit of streak going. UAB, we beat North Texas, but then all of a sudden we head to Tampa and to take on the South Florida Bulls. Again, another team looking to get something going and maybe a surprise conference shot. No, the Bulls take care of that and they destroy them to end the year. Number 6, let's go with the UTSA Roadrunners, baby. They're looking to keep it going. They're looking to keep the momentum running. They're looking to run away into this season. Sparking some momentum, got some win streak going at the end of the year. They still have one of the McCown's kids at QB. I think his name is Owen. Unfortunately, they start the year at Kyle Field, and they got to take on the Texas A&M Aggies. In my opinion, a much closer game than that spread. I think the spread's in the upper 30s. Man, I think it's going to be in the low 20s to 10s if it's not even a 14-point game or less. UTSA is definitely going to be out there to prove something. But then they bounce back. They get an actually big non-conference win against Texas State. Very sneaky team. It'll be a very good game to watch. Then they get an FCS school, get a big win. Another non-conference win, like sneaky good like schedule. They get a win against Colorado State, so they get a Mountain West team, a little Sun Belt team under their belt. Then we start conference play strong. We beat Temple, we beat Rice. Then they head to North Texas. Unfortunately, they're full of themselves. They're looking to get it going, have a great year. Well, Mean Green play a little spoiler and knock off the Roadrunners. Unfortunately, then it starts a little gauntlet. They go through it for a little bit. They take on the powerhouses. They take on Tulane and they take on South Florida. So they take some losses there. They finished the year strong though. They beat Charlotte. They beat East Carolina, and I think they're going to upset Army. Generally think they do. So at number 5, we got Army. We got the West Point lads, the Army Knights. They looking to keep the train rolling. A little bit of a hot take for some people again. They won the conference last year. I think they went undefeated in conference play. But man, the schedule they had last year was so easy, and it's not. I mean, it's still easier, but I think a couple of those teams improve, like UTSA. But UTSA gets them at home, so that makes that game a little more favorable. And I just don't think they can sustain that success immediately again, especially because they finally get some like they get a big dog in there. Last year they had none of like the top 4 that for conference play because we got to remember the Army Navy game, even though they are in the same conference, it doesn't count as a conference game. Which I know it's in a weird time slot, but I think they need to move that game to the last game of the year. Or I don't even. They need to move it to like. I know it has a great game on that day, but they got to move it into the season, make it a conference game they play every year, but then give it a time slot where they're always on TV and they get to still do the same thing. But let's get going. Army start the year crushing the FCS team. Then they travel to Manhattan and play Kansas State. I genuinely think they're going to play an extremely close game against them. They're disciplined, they're physical, I think they can really frustrate Kansas State. I think it's going to be a good game, but of course, I just don't think they have the talent to beat them. Then they get an early bye week, um, and they head home. They host the Mean Green of North Texas. Unfortunately for the North Texas, Mean Green, the Hulk is not coming out. The servicemen take care of them. The Knights then head to the Party City. They take on the Pirates of East Carolina. Greenville, huge Party City. Frat Row, pretty crazy there. Mr. Beast, also from there. They get another conference win on the road. They reel off two more conference win away. They get UAB. We get Charlotte. So, two easier games again. Schedule looks pretty easy. They don't get lucky again this year. They have to face one of the top dogs. They have to head to New Orleans and take on the Green Wave. I know what you're thinking. The Knights smoked them last year in the championship game. Yes, but this game is on the road. Last year it was in West Point in a colder time of year. You head to New Orleans. It's a little warmer. They get the juices flowing. It's at home. Summerall's there. New quarterback. They got something to prove this year. They need revenge. So give me Tulane in that game. I don't think at home. Tulane can't win that one. Get another bye week right after the loss. Get a little juices back. Prepare to take on the Air Force Falcons in a battle of the service academies. They cut the wings off the Falcons and take the ground battle and take over the game, and the Knights win. Knights reel off two more conference wins. They get Temple and Tulsa, two of the weaker teams. But then the Knights finish the year. Hey, they're looking to maybe make another conference title appearance, depending on what the rest do. They head to San Antonio into the Alamo Dome to take on the Roadrunners. They're looking to do it. They're looking to go back to back. Unfortunately, not back to back. Not this year. UTSA gets the upset win at the end of the year. Spoil the dreams of the Army Knights. Number 4. It hurts to say it, ladies and gentlemen. It hurts to say it, but it's my beautiful, beautiful Memphis Tigers. I know a lot of people maybe have them up there. Again, they just lost too much, in my opinion. Ryan Silverfield and a very, very new looking squad. We're looking to get over the hump with him. We're looking to get that group of 5 playoff spot. We're looking to not have these stupid losses that Silverfield always has, and really looking to go like 11-1 or 10-2 with like a loss to like Arkansas or somebody and win the conference title and make the playoff. Like we've said, they only have one returning starter on the defensive side of the ball and lost several rotation guys. He does really good in the portal, and he crushed it hard in the secondary and line. And he did have some lineman guys stay, some like nose tackles stay from last year that were, they look pretty good. So we'll see. They unfortunately lose Seth Hennigan, a 4-year starter. I don't I just don't see that going. And multiple receivers, you lock Rock Taylor, Demir Blankopsy. I can't think of the white guy's name. I feel bad. I should never forget a white receiver's name. It hurts. Probably because he wasn't the greatest, but he was reliable here and there. Um, and they lost, I think, one running back. I'm not too worried about it. They have a two-headed monster this year with Greg DeRosier Jr. and Sutton Smith. I think those two are going to create a running back room that can really carry the new quarterback. Generally, I think they can carry them kind of like Darrell Henderson, Tony Pollard, Patrick Taylor Jr., Kenneth Gainwell. Like that big running back room carried kind of like Brady White and Riley Ferguson. So I think the first year they can cut some slack off the quarterback, whoever it is, if it's the true freshman or if it's the senior from Nevada. I think that running back room can really settle some things and really give pressure off those quarterbacks. So who knows with the year? Start the year strong. They beat UT Chattanooga, go on the road and beat Georgia State. I think the Georgia State game they should win with ease. I think they can just run the ball all over them. But I don't know. Memphis always struggles on the road under Silverfield, so I guess we'll see. But they should still get the win. We march down to Troy, take on the Trojans. I hope they're coming in the horse to distract the Trojans. But they struggled with Troy last year at home, and again we're horrible on the road. But again, I just think the talent gap is just so big in that matchup, and the coaching matchup is probably the slightest edge, but it's not a big enough edge. So I'd say give me Memphis an extremely tight game, maybe game-winning field goal late. Um, then the Tigers head back home. We take on the Arkansas Razorbacks in a little SEC matchup at the Liberty Bowl. I was very surprised when they said they would come to the Liberty Bowl and play. I figured it'd be like a neutral game in like Jonesboro, or I was surprised that they wouldn't just make us go there and play, honestly. Uh, but man, it's going to be an extremely good game. But with Taylor Green and that line, I just don't see Memphis coming out with a win. I think it's going to be an extremely underrated, one of the best matchups of that week for sure in terms of entertaining. But Arkansas definitely might run away with that game a little late, win it by a couple scores in the fourth quarter. Um, then the Tigers head down to sunny Boca Raton, Florida, and take on the FAU Owls. I really want to go to that game, but it's just so hot down here still in September. I don't know if my son, being so young, can handle that. That'd be way too hot for him, even with fans and things like that. It's just not worth the risk for us. But who knows? Maybe we get a babysitter or something, or maybe there's a chill wave that weekend. I don't know. But give me the Tigers in that. It'll be a high scoring game though. I think the Tigers defense is going to struggle for a couple weeks. FAU's defense is very good. FAU's offense might be pretty good. So high scoring affair. Florida gets it. Then the Tigers get Tulsa. They're going to absolutely hammer them at home. Then the Tigers head down to Birmingham to play for the Battle of the Bones, one of the coolest rivalry trophies there is. It's literally a rack of ribs. How cool is that? And I was sad when they didn't play it for a long time, and I'm glad they brought it back. It's funny because I think they played each other before they came into the conference, and then now we get it every year. But give me them again. Trent Dilfer's extremely horrible coach. He makes Silverfield look like a holy man. Um, but again, they're horrible on the road, so it could be a very close game. But again, they're gonna win. The Tigers, they welcome the South Florida Bulls into town. A very intriguing game, crucial conference game to decide the conference. South Florida, I mean, I genuinely think they're going to upset two of the three, for sure one, but I think two of the three ranked teams they play to start the year. They're 100% beating Boise State on Thursday night. There's no doubt in my mind. It could get ugly. I think they could maybe even beat them by 3 or 4 scores. Byron Brown is that good, and all these people are hyping Boise State. Dude, they just had a guy leave that was one of the best running backs in college football history. Your offense is way different. You're not handing the ball 35 times to a freak every single time anymore. So, guess we'll see. We'll talk about more of that here in a minute. But I think the Memphis can pull it out. It's at home, so they're extremely good at home, and they come up in these big games, and they usually get wins. So again, give me the Tigers. The Tigers head down to Rice on Halloween, take them down on a Friday night. Unfortunately, after a big win like that, I think the Tigers are going to get upset by Rice. We struggled with them last year, and then we go on the road. We suck on the road. Boom, we're gonna get beat. Unfortunately, Tigers turn around. The schedule is not getting any easier. Turn around, go back home, and we face I would say a new rival for us. It's been a good 4 or 5 year stretch, maybe more 3 to 4. We take on Tulane in another Friday Night Lights edition. Again, another massive, crucial matchup. Two teams trying to win the conference, get to the title game and win it, and make a playoff spot potentially. Again, it's at home. We took care of them pretty easily last year, and Seth really didn't even have to do the much. The running backs destroyed them, and that was just DeRosia. Seton Smith was hurt. So give me the Tigers in this one. It's at home, and I think the running attack quarterbacks will be settled in by then. Uh, give me that. And the Tigers are, they're looking to take over the conference, and they're looking to get to the conference and maybe make a playoff. Um, Tigers, they're looking at the front run. All of a sudden, we head to the party town of Greenville, North Carolina, and take on the East Carolina Pirates. I think we're going to handle business this time on the road. I think it's going to be a really good game, really close game, but I think the talent gap between us and the Pirates is just a little too big. We come out with the win. I think that running back room, man, they're just going to take over a lot of games, run a lot of clock, run for a lot of yards, and get some big touchdowns, and really open a deep, deep play action pass too. Um, extremely late bye game or bye week. The Tigers get it very late in the year, but it's very nice because we get it a week before having to play Navy, and hopefully get a week to prepare of a triple option. So the midshipmen come into the Liberty Bowl. It's on Thanksgiving night actually. They're both looking to make the title game. They're both looking to get in there, win the conference, and get going. Well, one of the few teams that have beaten Memphis at home and given them problems at home on a consistent basis is Navy. And I think they do it again. I think the midshipmen upset Memphis at home and really play spoiler and ruin their chances of making the conference title game and making the playoff and winning the conference for technically third time. They had a tie with three teams one year because they didn't have a title game. Number three, Navy midshipmen. They're looking to continue their winning ways. They're trying to make a title game too. Blake Horvath, man, he added something a little different last year to Navy, and he's looking to come into another year and improve. And he adds a little slight passing attack to that beautiful triple option. They start the year destroying a FCS cupcake. They start conference play very early. They beat UAB, Tulsa, and Rice, and then they get a service academy with Air Force at home. They crush them as well. Get back into the conference. They get Temple, FAU, and they but just barely escape North Texas. So they're looking incredible. They're more than likely maybe going to be ranked at this point. Probably not because the SO the Jesus, I can't say it. The strength of schedule is just going to be horrendous at that point. So I don't know if they're going to give it to them. Here's the big test. They head to South Bend to take on the Irish. They just get trounced year in, year out against them, and I don't think it's going to change again this year. They're going to get crushed on the road. It's going to get ugly. Then all of a sudden they look to bounce back. They're looking to after a big loss. They're looking to take out the Manger but unfortunately they're playing the South Florida Bulls. They lose a crucial game to them, just a really superior South Florida team. They're trying to hang on tight. They're trying to hang on tight. They're trying to get to that title game. One more game in conference, and they travel to Beale Street. They travel to Memphis. They travel to Liberty Bowl to take on the Tigers. And like we talked about, they're one of the few teams to give Memphis problems year in, year out when they play in the Liberty Bowl, and they're going to do it again and get the upset. But they just barely miss the title game. And then we played the Service Academy game. They played the Army Navy game, and I think they're getting the revenge this year. I think they're going to beat Army. They're going to take it out on them. They really are. Number two, South Florida. Alex Goldish, I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to say that's what it looks like. Is a coach to watch out for. I think they're going to have a really, really good year this year, and I hate to say that for them because he'll probably leave immediately because there's going to be a lot of coaches fired this year from big schools that are looking to make a change. And a lot of those schools are, kind of more offense oriented, and this guy is definitely one of those. He was a Josh Heupel disciple, so we'll see. But if Byron Brown can stay healthy, they're going to be one of the better teams. They're going to be definitely top three group of five team if Byron Brown can stay healthy. They start the year hosting Boise State. I am no doubt about it, like we already talked about. They are going to beat Boise State. You can't go from handing off 30 plus times to a running back, letting him do everything, and then expect to come into the next year and kind of keep things going. And then to week one, and they play in Tampa in an extremely humid game. I don't even know if you can hear it. It's raining every day. It's hurricane season. There's rains every day in Florida, but no, we're getting downpours daily, sometimes twice, sometimes three times a day. It's going to be humid. That wet is in the field's grass. It's going to be wet. It's going to be slippery. Give me the South Florida Bulls. But then all of a sudden they got to hang around. They got to go to Gainesville, and take on the Gators. I think DJ Lagway and them are going to be too good. It'll be a good game going into halftime, but I think the Gators take it away. Then all of a sudden they got to head to again 3 matchups in a row. They head to Miami to take on the Canes. I think they're going to give them everything they want and more. I genuinely think this is the game, the 2 of 3 that I said, that they can upset. Carson Beck, in my opinion, is pretty overrated. They're losing a lot of guys. I mean, you lost Cam Ward, you lost Xavier Restrepo, lost several guys on defense, lost a couple linemen. Um, and they didn't even they didn't even make the playoff last year and get to a conference title game. I think Miami still pulls out the win, but this game could go to overtime. It generally could, and South Florida, it has a very high chance of upsetting Miami. But then they get going. South Florida gets going. They hit conference play and they go. They beat South Carolina State out of conference. They beat Charlotte, North Texas, and FAU. They've made their statement. They're here to contend. They're here to prove that they're something. Especially if they've beaten two of those three teams, they're probably top 25 more than likely. They're looking to go after it. But they go to a familiar foe. They head to Beale Street. They take on the Memphis Tigers in the Liberty Bowl. And unfortunately, like we said, they just don't come out with a win. That Memphis team is very good at home in conference, and they just can't survive it. Um, then we finished. The Bulls finished the year. They beat UTSA. They beat Navy. They beat UAB, and they beat Rice to make their first title appearance in the American Conference. Number uno, we get Tulane. John Sommerall and the Green Wave. They're looking to make another American Conference title game appearance. Get a little revenge necessarily. They're looking for redemption more to not embarrass themselves in a title game. They get QB they get a portal quarterback. They get Jake Retzlaff from QB or from BYU after losing Darian Minza to Duke and like the highest paid. I think he's the highest paid player in all of college football, which is insane that Duke pulled out that money. But it is an insane story with Retzlaff. BYU guy, we all know they're strict, so apparently he's suspended / kicked off for premarital sex and the rumors that because he's Jewish. So very interesting. But anyways, Tulane gets their quarterback after losing one. Very talented guy. I think it hurts BYU more than they know, and it helps Tulane a lot more than they know. Green Wave have extremely good non-conference schedule. They start the year hosting Northwestern, and they beat them in New Orleans. So, they have a good conference schedule, and they win the title, man. They're probably the favorite to make the playoffs. Just the conference, or outside of South Florida. South Florida is definitely the major favorite. They have two top 25 teams in a row. I mean, Boise State probably won't be ranked after that week again, but South Florida would probably be my favorite if they can get things done to make the playoff alongside Tulane. Start the year beating the Wildcats in Northwestern. Then they head to Mobile to take on South Alabama, an extremely underrated Sun Belt program. They won a thriller. It's going to be an extremely good game in Mobile. They're gonna run up and down the field. They're gonna beat the Jaguars. Then all of a sudden they host Duke and turn around in New Orleans, and it's a Darian Minza revenge game. They're looking to prove something against Minza. They're looking to prove that they moved on and got something better. And I believe they do that, and I think they upset the Duke Blue Devils. Then all of a sudden they got to head to Oxford, Mississippi. They got to head to Vaught Hemingway Stadium and take on the Rebels and Lane Kiffin. Unfortunately, I think they're going to lose a thriller. I think they're going to run out of steam late, lose by a couple scores in the fourth quarter. But it's going to be a good game, so it's not going to hurt them that much if they can keep that upset and if Duke has a good year like I think they will. And Northwestern can't throw up an absolute stinker either. They probably will, but that's okay. They still good out of conference games. They start conference play destroying Tulsa and East Carolina. Then host Army in that huge revenge game like we're talking about. They indeed do get their revenge. Then they head to UTSA, escape in a huge trap game. Very good game, and they know the next week they're playing the other top dog, and it's on the road in Memphis. And like we talked about already, I don't think they can survive in Memphis again. I mean, they struggled last year against Memphis and then in New Orleans, and that was a game Seth Hennigan didn't have to do anything. They just ran the ball up and down the field on them. And you're adding a better running back to go behind DeRosier's, and they have a transfer too, so it's going to be interesting. Then they went out. They beat Florida Atlantic, they beat Temple, and they beat Charlotte and get back to a title game, and they look to redeem themselves. And unfortunately, I don't think they do. I think South Florida wins the conference, and I genuinely think South Florida can make the playoff. I think whoever wins that game between those two after, that first week, I generally thought UNLV was probably going to do it. But man, UNLV does not look good. They struggle with an FCS team. I know Idaho State is a good FCS team, but with the talent they have, with 4 stars and 5 stars transferring in, they should have crushed them, and they didn't. So I genuinely think it's going to be someone out of the American or possibly James Madison, Liberty. one of those two. But with these two's non-conference schedule and just conference being way better, I would say it's probably Tulane or South Florida that end up making the college football playoff. So thank you all for listening in again. I appreciate you all. We're going to keep grinding. Like I said, we're hoping to get Mountain West done tomorrow, and then hopefully either SEC or Big Ten tomorrow, maybe both. But again, like we said, South Florida Boise State kicks off 5:30 Eastern, so we're not going to get that late pod, and so it'll more than likely Big Ten or SEC will get pushed to Friday, if not both. But appreciate y'all tuning in. Hey, give us a follow, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify. Drop us a follow on TikTok. We post a bunch of clips. We post our clips from here, and we post like another slides of where the rankings are. We don't go into detail because we want people to come here and listen as well. So I appreciate you all. God bless you all. Love it.